it.
That's right. Welcome to another summer edition of the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com, breaking down top stories from Districts 5 and 6 of Idaho High School athletics. My name is Joel Richardson. Great to have you with us. This show is sponsored by Ideal, a state-sponsored tax advantage savings plan that helps families pay for the cost of college. With the rising cost of college, developing a savings plan is the first and most important step in helping families finance a college education. An Ideal 529 account can be used towards higher education, a trade school, apprenticeship, or even student loan repayments. For more information, go to idsavings.org. Appreciate the Ideal 529 sponsoring this show tonight. Again, great to have you with us. My name is Joel Richardson, and we had one of these summer editions. It was our first summer edition a few months ago. Someone asked, are we talking football tonight? I wanted to try to squeeze in them, but we just didn't have enough time. So we're going to talk football tonight, folks. And here to help us with that is the East Idaho expert and insider, Sean Kane. Sean, happy summer. We're talking football.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that we're there, right? We've won the summer course. That means I have to go back to work and different things. But yeah, it's a good summer. Been lots of football chatter here and there without it going. It's the kind of the main event. It's the start of school, and we'll have all the sports going here in East Idaho. Golf moved in, volleyball tryouts are coming up. I was just seeing, and all those different things. But yeah, why not start off with a little football? We're gonna get a little ahead of everyone else today. Basically, I'm pretty proud of myself, and I'm a little like cash. I got the tie dye, I got the hat on.
I like it, dude.
Sure, Paul will be making a comment about it, but I haven't combed my hair for 2 months. Really,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, you're on a summer vacation, man. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe to the show. Make sure to share this so everyone who misses the show tonight, because they're not going to want to miss this, they can watch it later. Like Sean said, if you don't like what Sean's wearing or you like what he's wearing, feel free to send a comment. And also, we're going to have a great guest on tonight. Send a comment, send a question. We may get it asked and potentially answered by either Sean, myself, or our guest tonight. Sean, we have a great guest. I've been meaning to do this for a few months. When I had some ideas for a few summer shows, I needed to get the championship football coach on here. And because he came from East Idaho, we had two. But, he sent us a little shout out earlier in the season. So I feel like we needed to pay him back, bring him on the show, give him a little love. And that is the man from Hillcrest football, Coach Brennon Mossholder. Brennon, welcome on the show. Great to have you with us.
Hey, thanks for having me, gentlemen. I'm excited to talk ball. I'm excited that we're almost ready to rock and roll with some pads on. And for a football coach and for high school football players around the country, this is kind of the best time of the year. Really excited to get going.
Yeah, man. And it's the best time of year, especially for fans, because everyone thinks it's their year, unless you're a Bears fan, right, Sean?
Yeah, pretty much.
In Caleb Williams, you trust.
That's right, dude.
I've been there long enough, so you just throw it at me, I'll catch it. But yeah, no, it's exciting. It's hot outside. The grass is turning yellow. It's time for some football.
Yeah. So, and coach, football is coming, but we wanted to rewind, if that's okay. I know as coaches, you're always looking forward, right? And we don't want to look back too much, but coach, you guys had a really cool season. I'm not going to say an incredible season or an amazing season. I'm going to say cool season, because you did drop 2 losses, coach. And one of those losses was against three losses, excuse me. Yeah, you guys went 10-3. You dropped 3 games. And early on, Sean and I were pretty high on Skyline, and you guys lost to Skyline, I think by 12 or so. And I was actually broadcasting that game, doing the play-by-play for that. And there was a couple of interesting calls there. We don't have to talk about those, coach, but it was a great game. And I was thinking, okay, Hillcrest is there, but maybe next year. But dude, you guys kept chugging and chugging. Let's talk about that season really fast, coach, and then we'll get into that championship game. But that season, again, was so cool for Hillcrest. That's my word. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it was cool. And the word I would add to it is really that it was just a journey. I think football coaches talk all the time about wanting to peak at the right time. And I think that ultimately that was what we were able to do. I think some of that is because of what you were mentioning, those 3 losses, and we played some really, really tough opponents. We opened the year with Madison, who ends up being a 6A semifinalist, and as talented as Tyson Sweetwood, our quarterback, is, that's his first varsity start ever. And so you're playing a 6A semifinalist, so your first varsity start ever. He struggled in that game and then got better throughout the year. You play Skyline in the league. And it was a good game, competitive game, but they certainly got us during the regular season. But that's a 5A finalist, and then we drop a game to Rigby late in the year, who's the 6A champion. So I mean, we play a gauntlet of a schedule. I think Southeast Idaho has proven time and time again just how tough of a region we are, really at all levels. You have Rigby and Highland at 6A have been so successful. Skyline, Blackfoot has been so successful at 5A. Sugar at 4A. I mean, Southeast Idaho has some ballers, man. And so we felt really prepared going into the playoffs, kind of with the journey that we went through. And I think it really did start with that Rigby game, because we played them really late in the year. It was our second to last game. And I think we went back on Max Preps and looked. We think that it is the most points Rigby has given up in the last 10 years is what we scored on them.
Nice. That's a great stat.
Yeah. At times, they could do whatever the heck they wanted on offense too. Don't get me wrong. They absolutely did not win. But I think we left that game with a confidence of, we can play with anybody. And then we continued to progress throughout the playoffs. And, I think it's a tale as old as time in football. It's really hard to beat a team twice. And so we had a really good game plan going in against Skyline in the second time we got to face them. And then sometimes in football, you just have random plays that go one way or the other. The fact that we got 2 interceptions that almost were pick sixes that led to easy scores for us. If we play Skyline 10 times, that might be the only time that happens. I think we were 2 very even teams. I don't think the final score was indicative of how close our teams really were. Just blessed. And I think I said it immediately after the game. I'm just so excited and such a blessing for our kids to get to experience that, because I got to experience it as a high school baseball player back in Portland, Oregon, winning a state title. I just know how special it is. And football, frankly, we put more time and effort in for fewer games than anybody else. And so to be able to cap it off with a state championship, I told the kids immediately after game, this is something that will live with you forever. Whatever goes on the rest of your life, no one can take this away from you. And so it's just so special to get to experience that. And, I'm really humbled as still a younger head coach to get to experience that, because I know some of it is just dumb luck sometimes. You have to get the right breaks. You have to stay healthy. You have to have the game where you don't throw the interception and you get the interceptions. And there's so many coaches that have gone before me that have never got to experience a championship. They could coach circles around me. And, so I just feel really blessed and humbled. And so, yes, your word cool is right. I would add journey to it. But just such a cool experience for our entire Hillcrest football community. And football, I think, is really kind of the tone setter for a school year and the culture of a school, or at least it certainly helps to have a good football team. And so the fact that we can contribute that and have for the last several years to the Hillcrest community is really special to me.
Yeah, definitely. And when I go back and look at this, I think, man, that first Madison game, that should have been the indication. Like, we should have known you guys are going to be good, because I'm pretty sure I had penciled Madison into the championship game. I thought it was. I mean, I think if Eagle Madison play 10 times, Madison probably wins 8 out of those 10. I'll say it here. I'm an East Idaho guy, but yeah, it was a good. It was such a good year. I got to be on the call, and in that game, it was. You got some early, turnovers, and you got a lead, and then Skyline had to take chances, which I don't know. You talked about Rigby's stat. When's the last time Skylines had to take chances in a game? Look that up. That's what I felt like during that game, that they had to take chances. They had to go out of their comfort zone because you guys got the lead and put the pressure on them. But, it was a great game.
This was 9 months ago now, but the fact that felt the need to onside kick coming out of halftime, and that we were prepared for it and were able to recover that and then turn it into a score, and really we're able to kind of put the vice grips on them from there. That was a big swing in the game for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That was I thought that was probably the biggest turning point in the game, because there's really no way. You have a Crockett and Garcia. There's a way, right? I would never count a team of that caliber out, but that definitely made the pressure on them. But yeah, congratulations. And now, man, now we're looking into how you go to like defend that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Well, and really quick, yeah, how do you defend that? But you have three big players, and one of them is your special teams guy. I can't say enough about special teams in high school football. And coach, tell me if I'm wrong. From 6A all the way down, most 8-man football doesn't have a kicker, right? Maybe a punter, but they usually go for it on fourth downs.
Yeah.
But dude, if you have a decent field goal kicker and a decent punter, you're going to win games. And you guys, you had three facets. You said this, I think, in the East Idaho News. They do a great job covering East Idaho sports. But you had a great interview where you said all three facets were firing: offense, defense, and you said special teams. But you had a punt, I think, flipped the field, right? I think Skyline still marched and they may have scored. But that punt was massive. It took a lot of clock for Skyline to get down the field. Yeah. And then you had Borgman, right? Rylan Borgman, now a senior. He had a great field goal. That guy's coming back along with is it Meekum? Meekum, who had those 2 picks, no picks the entire year, suddenly gets 2 picks as a linebacker. Awesome. Yeah. And then of course, Tyson Sweetwood, now a senior. Those 3 guys are my kind of keys. Obviously, as a coach, you're not allowed to have key players because you love all your players. But from the media standpoint, I'm looking at those 3 players as key players for your win for going into this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great starting spot for sure. Rylan Borgman, great story on him. We went to our all-league meeting to vote for our all-league players, and someone's like, you had a typo there that he had 65 touchbacks, right? And I go, that's not a typo. And they're like, 65? Nope, that's how many touchbacks he had. If anyone's seen where Hillcrest plays now at our home stadium, you can kick it on the Sunnyside Road, and he has. So, not only flipping the field with punts, but the ability in high school football to force touchbacks and make opposing offenses go 80 yards, that's invaluable. And so having him back is huge. Then offensively, it makes my job so much easier to have a quarterback of Tyson Sweetwood's caliber, returning state player of the year, 6'4", he's up to close to 200 pounds now, ultra athletic. He's one of our top basketball players as well. Led the state in passing last year, led the state in rushing for quarterbacks last year. I can't say enough good things about the kid. And not only is he a great football player, but he's a great human being. He was out with us earlier today, coaching up our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders at our Grid Kid Camp. Just a super humble guy, and really excited, not only for him, for Hillcrest for this year, but for his future. He recently committed to Carroll College, and I think that's going to be a great home for him to continue not only his football career, but his education. And so he's just truly outstanding. And then, you brought up Ryan Meekum. He'll be returning as one of our middle linebackers. And then the other guy that I would really give some credit to, just because he's an amazing two-way player for us, is Dax, our other middle linebacker, Dax Sargent. He's our other middle linebacker and starting running back. Another kid that's 15 pounds heavier, a couple steps faster, a couple pounds stronger. And he's our defensive play caller and kind of picks up short yardage for us. We're blessed at this point that we've continued to develop guys. So I could list off our whole roster and tell you guys that we're excited about, but no, that's a really good start. And the other thing that's really exciting for me is that we return 3.5 starters on our offensive line. And the other guy I think that really deserves a shout out is Damian Simmons. He led the state in sacks with 14.5 sacks last year. He's 6'4", 220 pounds, competed in track this year, was a spot away from making the state final as a 100-meter runner. And he's our starting right tackle.
No way.
how many starting right tackles pop 11-3 in the 100. So him coming off the edge is another really key player for us and a guy that goes two ways. So lots of guys we're excited about, lots of guys that I think have the potential for a collegiate future. And we're just blessed to get one more year out of them. So we'll see if we can make the most of it.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess why not just move into it right there? When you look at the upcoming schedule, what do you got circled there? It's not very much different than last year, right?
No, it's the exact same schedule for us as last year, just flipped home and away. So again, it's just an absolute gauntlet. I feel like we're going to play one of the toughest schedules in the state, if not the toughest schedule of the state at the 5A level. So open up with Madison again. I'm
sure Max Preps will have a tough rank of schedule for you. Very accurate advice.
So open up with Madison again. We matched up with them during a 7-on-7. I think athletically we're two very evenly matched programs. We'll see what Coach Pancari does as he starts his tenure there.
Right, new coach
he's
there.
a highly regarded coach, and so I'm sure he'll do a great job and have his guys ready to go to start the year. Then we very quickly turn around and play the game that we always have highlighted, which is the Civil War against Bonneville, and that's at their place this year. So that'll be a big raucous environment and is a big deal in the Idaho Falls area. And then right into Thunder Ridge, and then into league play with Skyline. So there are no gimmies in our league. But like I said, we feel like if we can stay healthy through that, we proved last year you can have a 6-3 regular season and win a state title. So it's all about improving throughout the year and it's all coaching cliches. I get it, but you really want to take it. You really want to take it week by week, opponent by opponent, not look too far ahead, but we know we have a gauntlet in front of us, and we want to make sure that we're continuing to improve, continuing to get stronger, faster, and hopefully stay healthy.
So let me ask you a question then. I'm going to go off the rails, so it might mess up Joel, but okay. So when we look at the 5A schedule, a lot of people, and I'm one of them, I think too many people get in at the 5A level in state. So, you could, I think you get in no matter what if you're 6-3, but I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think there's too many games at that 5A level and maybe you should go to that 6A where they have the buy and play in? I don't know. I feel like sometimes we're getting teams and matchups at the start of that, bracket that are, they're just, I don't know if we need, they're kind of lopsided. So it's great to get that opportunity. It can start your program. We made it, but do we want to drive to Sandpoint and lose by 30 or, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of scenarios that play out. So what's your take on that?
Yeah. So we've talked about that. We have coaches meetings every year up in Boise, and this certainly might change because there's people that have more important voices than what I have to say. But my counter argument to you is something that I brought up earlier. And it's that we as football teams do more work for fewer games than anybody else. And so it might cost a little bit of money, but why would I take an opportunity away from a kid that is trained for 10 months to play one more football game? And there's always a chance. The upsets truly have been few and far between. I do understand that. But for the amount of time and effort we put into this sport, why not give a kid one more opportunity? Is traveling to Sandpoint going to be the greatest thing in the world? No, but that's kind of a one-off. And even if you eliminate that, somebody's going to have to do it in the next round. So, I get the point that it's cost and travel, but I'm never going to be in favor of taking opportunities away from kids and from programs. If it changes, and I have a feeling superintendents are ultimately going to get their way and change it. I think the 4A model is the best model. Your top four seeds, regardless of conference, get a bye. And I would be a proponent of that, honestly, because it benefits us. Because, for the past several years, either Skyline or Hillcrest have both been in the top four. And just because you don't win your league, I don't think you should be punished for that if you're truly a top four team. And honestly, I've been very happy with the Max Preps rankings. I think they do a very good job by the end of the year. I think it shakes out how it should shake out. I know at the 5A level, I think last year was 1, 2, 3, 4 that were the Final Four. I think the year before was 1, 2, 3, 5 or something like that. So I think it does a pretty good job of getting it right. So if it were to change, I'd be in favor of the 4A model where the top 4 get a bye and you get 12 teams in. But ultimately, that's above my pay grade. But that's just that's my opinion on it.
No, that's a great perspective.
Yeah.
I've honestly probably not really thought of that way about, given that opportunity and that you do have the shortest amount of playing time out of any other sport. So that kind of hit home with me. So yeah, that was a great point of view. I like that. And yeah, 4A, I like how they do it too. But yeah, that's awesome. Thanks. I'm glad I asked.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joel.
No, that was a great question. And dude, your response, Brennan, I'm going to try to segue this. So stand by, everyone. This is going to be a stretch. But seriously, Coach Mossholder, your response, I think it kind of epitomizes why you are the 2-time. Ready for this one, guys? Coach of the year. Look at that picture. Yeehaw! Coach, I was kind of scouring the internet for pictures, and I happened to add you. I happened to start following you on Instagram. I think this is where that picture came from.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to embarrass you, Coach, but seriously, you've made some great comments in your answer from Sean, because everything that we've said, at least all the kind of the Idaho sports pundits, I think we all agree that, there should be fewer games. But your perspective,
it was good.
I never thought about that, honestly. Like, yeah, let's give these football players one more game. And look, if people don't want to drive, okay, but the players are going and the coaches are going. So you might as well go watch your kid or your neighbor or whatever play, because it's your last chance to support them. So love that take. But Coach, you have been the 2-time Coach of the Year as selected by your peers. Again, your comment earlier is a small example of why you've been the 2-time Coach of the Year. But talk about some of your philosophy. And I know locker rooms are sacred places, and we don't want you to get too much into what your day-to-day grind and what you do that makes you such a good coach. But tell us what you do, Coach, and maybe what makes you stand out. And I know you don't like talking about yourself, but give us a little insight into how you like to run things and why you continue to win and why you've been named the 2-time Coach of the Year.
Yeah. I can give you a few things. First of all, thank you. I appreciate it. It is always nice knowing how much time and effort I put into it and how much my family sacrifices and for recognition. So I appreciate it, and thank you very much for that.
Yeah, man. Cheers.
I would also give just a huge shout out to my coaching staff. For me, I'm our offensive play caller. I have very little to do with what happens on the defensive side of the football. So Dustin Medlin, my defensive coordinator, and our whole defensive staff, basically all I ask of them is to give me a 5-minute rundown on what's happening for the week. And I give it my stamp of approval and say, hey, go do your thing, guys. And then having Mark Asper, who played in the NFL, as my offensive line coach, oh my gosh, like that makes my life so much easier. And then just having really good players. Tyson Sweetwood fell into my lap because he lives in the area. Now I've done everything I can to help him be a better football player and help him develop in the weight room. But it takes good players to have good football teams. So as far as our process, I can give you, we tag it with everything on our social medias. We talk about it all the time. It's on our t-shirts. I call it Mind, Body, and Team. So #MBT on everything. And what I really like about that and why it's our slogan and what we try to live out is because it is all effort-based things. On any high school football team, you're not recruiting your guys, so you get who you get. But everybody on the team can give 100% effort, and we talk about those 3 areas a lot. First of all, mind. Okay, we're student athletes first. You have to have good grades in high school to play football, so that's part of it. But then, as it applies to football, you can watch film, you can know your plays, you can know the scouting report. All of those are effort-based things. It takes no skill to do those things. Then when it comes to the body, we expect our kids to work in the weight room year-round. We expect them to give 100% effort at practice. We expect them to give 100% effort in games. Again, all effort-based things. The best player on your roster can do it. The least talented player on your roster can do it. And then the most important one is it finishes with team. And that is all about knowing your role and owning your role. There is one quarterback on the team. There's one Ryland Borgman kicker on the team. If you're not that guy, how are you going to contribute to the team? And so whether you're going to be the water boy on Friday nights, or it's your job to prepare the first string guys by giving your best effort and scout team, if it's being on the sidelines yelling pass, ball on the sidelines, or you're the starting middle linebacker, what is your role, and how are you going to fulfill your role to the best of your ability for the ultimate success of the team? And so, in this day and age, it's getting harder and harder. This is not a Hillcrest problem. It's not a anybody problem, but everybody wants to be the star, and everybody wants their fame, and everybody wants their flowers. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but it is hard to build a team if you're so concerned about the individual. And so we really preach that all three phases, but the team part is just so critical. I start my parent meeting every year. 2 exercises I really like. Number 1, I just ask the room, does anybody know who led 6A in receiving yards last year? No hands go up.
Nobody.
Does anybody know who was the 3A player of the year last year? No hands go up. Okay, who won the 6A championship? Rigby. Who won the 4A championship? Sugar.
Every year.
So you guys remember the team results,
Mark
but
it down.
You don't remember any of the individual results. All right, well, let's keep that in mind. The other thing is that I tell them we're now at a point where we have about 110 kids in our football program. Okay, we're going to play freshman football, JV football, varsity football. 11 starters. Even if we went 22 starters, that's only 66 starters in the program. That leaves about 50 kids that aren't going to be starters, probably more, because we're going to start some 2A guys. Okay, so how can I make football successful for those 50 guys that aren't going to start for us? Okay, how can I make them feel part of the team? But it's also a question for them. How are you going to be part of this team, and how are you going to bring a positive attitude every day, and how are you going to make the team better if you're not one of our starters? And so it's just one of those things that we really hammer home. We started to call it first world problems because we have so many players and so many good players. How do we play them all? And now luckily football has free substitutions, and we do what we can. And when games get out of hand, we try and play as many guys as possible and all those things. But we're only going to have so many starters. And so how can we make guys feel valuable, and how can they feel valuable to the team if they're not on the field all the time? And so we talk about effort-based things a lot. And so that's really my coaching philosophy. And it's something I think I'll take with me wherever I go for the rest of my career. And so I just think it's super important. And in this day and age, making things as much about the team as opposed to the individual, we try to do that.
Yeah, especially like you said, it's the sport with the fewest amount of games. Yeah. Right? You're only playing once a week, and that's it. There's no, back to back or the Tuesday, Thursday. It's once a week. So yeah, I get it. And I having too many good players is never a problem, Coach. I'm just
you tell that to their parents. You tell that to their parents.
Then you go, we're doing it for the team, like you said. Yeah. I'll go with this coach for that one, but no, it's definitely a process. And now I've just got the fewest amount of games thing that you said on my head, so now everything is going to relate to that. But just a phenomenal job up there in Hillcrest, the new stadium, right? That's got to be a great bonus there on Sunnyside, and you've got that going. And it was probably the most interesting game of last year. It'd probably be that Lakeland snow game, right? I mean, that was probably one of the most interesting, I think, games if we had to go rank some games that come behind wind in the snow, kind of on a weird time, but that's Idaho weather, right? We can't predict that. We might be able to predict our opponents a little bit, but the weather, good luck.
Yeah, I was watching that film just the other day with our coaching staff, and man, talk about things not clicking in all three phases.
No,
we fumbled twice. We roughed the punter in special teams. We muffed a punt. We couldn't tackle to save our lives. Luckily, I mean, Lakeland was a very good team. They were absolutely deserving of being a semifinal team. I just think we had a little more depth than they did. And between the travel, you get to Idaho Falls, you're playing at elevation. I think some of their guys weren't necessarily as used to going two ways as they were being asked to go that night. And I think we wore them down a little bit in the second half. But man, what a team! And yeah, the snow globe game was something, that's for sure.
Yeah, those pictures were insane. Like I couldn't believe. Yeah, that was amazing. As a kid from California, that was so fun to see those pictures and watch those highlights.
Well, I can promise you, when we were down 14 in the third quarter, it was not super fun. So I'm glad we turned it around.
And cold.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's where you get the team aspect of it is one of the games like that, and you can come back and steer the ship a little straighter as you can, and with the weather and whatnot. But I mean, that's a good showing of the effort, the coaching staff. I believe in our previous conversation a while, before some of these games, you said you had like 7 college football players on staff too, or something.
Yeah.
That played D1. So that, I mean, that goes into that too. I just remember that point was pretty exceptional as well.
Yeah, again, Mark Asper played in the NFL, played at Oregon. Justin Maddox, our defensive line coach, played at BYU. Tyler Belknap was a receiver. He's going to kill me if I get this wrong, but I believe at Utah State for a minute. We had a couple guys that played at Rick's. So, yeah, I'm just a little low-level college baseball player. These are the guys that have all the experience and all the knowledge, and so I mean, going back to my start time at Hillcrest, it's just such a blessing because the staff really hasn't changed all that much. It was really a blessing that as a younger head coach, these guys that have all this real world experience in big time college football environments, NFL environments, were just humble enough to listen to me and take my direction. And so I'm eternally grateful for those guys. And it's so much fun now that we love each other, man. We hang out every Friday night after each game. Sundays, our wives are always texting us because they why are you guys still meeting? Well, we're not meeting anymore. We're just hanging out. Like, we like being around each other. So I mean, it's just such a blessing to do it with people you like. People make the experience, and so being around coaches I like and then building up kids has really been special for me.
I think players, kids, students, I think they see that when you have a good staff and people that work together. I think they see that a lot, just as far as my experience. If they see that you guys can all work together and all different backgrounds and different knowledge bases, it's easier for a good kid to go, oh, I don't know everything, because some of them think they do, right? So it's, I know just from experience, having that mentorship and different coaches that is such a great thing, and I know the kids see it, and that's what they like. Oh, you guys are friends after this, right? They say things like that, and then, oh, we can be friends too. Okay, they get that the team aspect and how it takes everyone to work together. So very, very, very great influential point there.
And Coach, we want to be sensitive to your time. We've been on about 35 minutes now, but we got to ask you this question because I think this is so cool. Tell us a little about, and maybe do this with your fellow coaches. I have no idea, but we got to post this picture right here. Found another gem here. Ready for this one, Coach?
Don't get me in trouble.
Mossholder's Bandits. How about this one? Look at that guy throwing. Coach, you talk about you played baseball, but you also played football in Oregon, right? And I believe you played quarterback. Was it 3-4A football? Am I correct on that?
Well, no, that's actually incorrect. So
okay.
I think this is really what influences why I talk so much about effort and knowing your role and doing what you're going to do. So I went to Clackamas High School outside of Portland, Oregon. And they're a big school, even bigger than Rigby is. I think when I graduated, we had 2,600 students. And I was our backup quarterback. Our starting quarterback, David Sowards, he went on to play college football. He was a starting quarterback at Central Oregon for a while, or Western Oregon for a while. He was just flat out better than me. And again, you have one kid that's going to play quarterback, and it wasn't me. So I had to pretty quickly figure out, like, what's my role going to be on this team? And again, we were huge and full of studs. I wasn't going to play defense. I wasn't good enough to do anything else. So, I just really, as a high schooler, took pride in running our scout team every week and trying to prepare our defense as best we could. And I knew that was my role. And I'm also super blessed that my parents were ones that never complained, never went to coach, said, hey, why isn't my kid starting? Just hey,
That's
know
awesome.
what your role is, work hard, be the best teammate you can be. And even though I was a slightly better baseball player and got more opportunities as a baseball player, I just fell in love with the game of football. But I knew early on that my role was never going to be a starter. So how was I going to make my experience enjoyable? And it was through just being a really good teammate. And I have lifelong friends from that team that if I would have been, frankly, an a-hole about it, I probably wouldn't have lifelong friends from that team. So anyway, as it relates to me playing football now, we call it 57U football.
The Blackfoot Bandits, right?
I see it. Yeah, 57U right there.
57U football. No, so Jordan Long, my JV defensive coordinator, is the head coach of the team, and I keep myself in pretty good shape, and he's been bugging me to come out. And so we made it a package deal that Mark Asper comes out and plays, and if he's going to protect my blind side, I'll play quarterback.
Okay.
And so it really has been a blast. We have some former players now playing with us from Hillcrest that are now playing with us. Peyton King, who's my quarterback, came and played receiver for Peyton King came and played receiver for me this year. So it's becoming more and more Hillcrest guys, which, again, we all love each other. We all get along. We all have fun. And because I didn't get to play a ton of football as a high schooler, now I'm getting a chance to play. And as a coach, I hope it makes me better too, because I'm seeing the game from a whole different perspective. It's easy for me to call things from the sidelines when I'm not getting hit. It gives me a little more empathy and a little more knowledge in helping our quarterbacks out. Now that I'm seeing some of the same stuff that we're doing on the actual playing field and having to make calls that they're having to make in a game. And so not only is it fun, not only do I get to do it with my friends, but hopefully it's making me a better coach as well.
Right on. And how did you guys do? I know East Idaho News did a great job covering, but I didn't quite get, how you guys did championship.
Yeah,
what?
So I believe there's 8 teams in the league. We ultimately made the championship and lost to a team called the Panthers out of Salt Lake City, and they are so much better than everybody else. So gotcha. No shame in that. I think I asked one of their players after the game, and more than half their roster were like college football players. And so, all right, yeah, you guys are legit. we took our butt whooping and went home.
Nice. Okay. Well, I mean, it's not fair. Salt Lake has that many more people versus East Idaho. So, but right on. That's so cool. Yeah, I saw that. I was following East Idaho News, saw that you were playing with them, but I kind of forgot. And then when I was looking at some pictures, scouring the internet for some gems, the Bandits, that was a great shot. And was that pass completed, Coach?
I complete all of them. What are you talking about?
Of course, yeah. Right on. Well, Coach, we've taken a lot of your time. We want to give you a chance. Do you want to shout out anyone, family, Coach? I know you've talked a lot about your family and your assistant coaches, how awesome they are for the dedication to you, and then also to giving you that time to be so dedicated to your profession. But anyone we want to shout out before we get you out of here?
Oh yeah, definitely my wife Madison. And we have 2 little ones at home, and she works night in the NICU. Ultimately, she does things that are a lot more important than coaching high school football games. She's keeping preemie babies alive, and that's what she's doing right now as I'm doing this. So, being a coach's wife is never easy, and I empathize with all coaches' wives everywhere. We put a lot of time and effort into 16 and 17-year-old boys. So the fact that she allows me to do that is awesome. And so, yeah, it's a family affair. And again, what I really love and appreciate about Hillcrest is how much of a family community we make it. Our principal and his family, they come to our after game parties. Our head trainer comes to our after game parties. I mean, we really enjoy being around each other. And so the whole football community and the Hillcrest community at large, the success we've had with basketball, the success that our dance team is starting to have. We've hired a new volleyball coach the last year, had a great first year, and I'm excited to see what they do. Just the sports culture that we're building at Hillcrest High School, I'm extremely proud of, and I'm proud to be a part of it. And we're really looking to continue this success. And you mentioned earlier, Sean, the new stadium. I do have to give a shout out to our athletic director, Larry Stocking, because that stadium is 100% privately funded. We did not use any tax dollars to build that thing, It is a beautiful turf stadium. It's the perfect size for us. Big games feel big because the stands are full there, and it's a beautiful setting. And hopefully within the next year, we'll finish phase 2, which would be getting all the locker rooms done behind it. But as far as the playing surface and not having to bus to our main rivals high school at 5 miles down the road for home games anymore, that's a special place. So lots of great things going on at Hillcrest. As we always say, it's a great day to be a Knight. And tomorrow morning I'll wake up and it'll be another great day to be a Knight. So feel blessed to be where I am, feel blessed to be a part of this community, and we're excited to get the pads on and get rocking and rolling.
Coach, you're a blessed dude. I mean, I want to come play for you, right? Is there any eligibility? Is that a thing in high school? Anyway, Coach, thanks so much for coming on, for taking some time out of your evening, out of your night, to be on the show. Again, we've been wanting to do this for a few months. It's crazy how quick we go from football immediately into basketball, girls, then boys, and then suddenly it's spring. Sean's coaching tennis, and Sean's winning trophies. And then it's the summer, and we're
Sean's
done.
got more rings than I'm ever going to have, so good on him.
Yeah, man. He's got a couple of his blue trophies. But anyway, so thank you so much for taking some time to come on. You're the man. We'll be following you guys closely. I'm sure you'll be getting email from someone from Idaho Sports for asking for that preview. But we'll be watching you guys from Hillcrest, from here at Hillcrest, seeing how you guys do this year. I have a couple games circled. We won't talk about those now, but really excited to see what you guys do in some of those flip-flop games, home and away, and stuff like that. But good luck this season. Good luck as you go off on some vacation with your family. Take advantage of that. And then as fall camp starts, wishing you guys the best of luck, man.
Absolutely. Joel, Sean, thank you guys. I appreciate all the effort you guys put into high school sports and highlighting some of the efforts of our young people. So thank you guys, and best of luck to you, and I'll be watching throughout the year.
All right. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks, Coach. Take care. Sean, Coach Mossholder, what, dude? Seriously, I want to go play football. I like I say, I don't want
to play football.
It hurts, but for him, I'd play. Hey, I'll yell pass ball, right? That'll be my role. Don't need to start. I don't need to even play. I'll just yell pass ball, right? That was the words. Yeah.
There you go.
I'll be that guy. But
pass or run, whether the play's a pass or a run,
right?
Right. The run.
Yeah. Oh, is that I thought I said pass ball, but yeah, pass run. Yeah. Run, pass. But Sean, we've said this on the show a number of times. We have great coaches in East Idaho, and that's why we keep winning. We don't win them all, but we win a lot, and it's because of great coaches like Coach Mossholder.
Yeah, and I mean, I changed my mind on the 4A state bracket thing. Like, I just never looked at 5A. It that way. Yeah, 5A. I was so gung-ho on, we got to get some of these games out of here and move this thing along. And you know what? He makes a good point. There's not very many games, and why take away that opportunity? And I think that's what it comes down to. Sometimes we got to think about the opportunities that were there. And that was a cool point to be made, and it'll be interesting to see, how it goes forward, right? Because we're not too far into this max preps and having it ranked, and we have a very small window of data to look at and kind of see how it comes out. For the most part, we're getting, I think, the best teams in the championship games, which I think at the end of the day is what everyone wants to see. But definitely opportunities at the forefront of his coach's mind, which is I think is very important as a group collectively in East Idaho.
Yeah, more snaps for the kids, right? That's gonna be our mantra every time we have this conversation moving forward. Sean, we still have plenty of summer left. I know you got to go back to school in a few weeks, for some of that prep and whatnot, but yeah, yay. But we still have a few weeks of summer, so let's get out of here. We'll start our East Idaho Prepcast probably mid-August. We'll get started again maybe earlier, but probably mid-August we'll do our first East Idaho Prepcast for the new season.
Yeah, I think
25-26 season.
Yeah, we should send Joel to camp, right? Put like a GoPro on you, and you have to go through a day of camp.
We got to
goes to camp.
Coach Mossholder, put me through those drills, man. Yeah, holy smokes, I wouldn't survive 5 minutes.
Yeah, and we got Gem State game days coming, all that stuff, and football is kind of fun in my mind. It's almost like you wipe the slate clean, right? You come back and maybe some teams are going to be predominant again, but you always get some new stuff. And a great article on IdahoSports.com about all the coaching changes.
36, 37 new coaches, something like that.
Yeah, I can't count that high, but I mean, I think coaching's important. It's just so important, I think, in football too. So it'll be, we should keep track of how all the new coaches do. You know what I mean? Like maybe keep a poll on that or something, because that'll be interesting to see. But I think if I was the coach of Sugar Salem, I would win too. But I'm just saying.
Totally. So let's get out of here. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the show so you know when it drops. One more time, I want to recognize our sponsor, Ideal, a state-sponsored tax advantage savings plan that helps families pay for the cost of college. With the rising cost of college, developing a savings plan is the first and most important step in helping families finance a college education. An Ideal 529 account can be used towards higher education, a trade school, apprenticeship, or even those darn student loan repayments. For more information, go to idsavings.org. That's Sean Kane. I'm Joel Richardson. We had Coach Mossholder on the show. Thanks for being with us. Be excellent to each other. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you mid-August or so next time on the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.